Michigan law clerk is sentenced to life in prison for torturing her disabled teen son to death by feeding him bread soaked in hot sauce and forcing him into ice baths as punishment. A Michigan law clerk has been sentenced to life in prison without the chance of parole for torturing her disabled son to death. Shanda Vander Ark, 44, was convicted of murder and child abuse after she abused and killed her 15-year-old son Timothy Ferguson in 2022. The mother tortured the boy, who had autism with speech and motor impairment, by feeding him only bread covered in hot sauce, depriving him of sleep and forcing him into ice baths as punishment. The child died at his family's home in Norton Shores on July 6, 2022, weighing just 69 pounds. An autopsy found he died from malnourishment and hypothermia. I've been trying now for this entire case to wrap my mind around how somebody could do something so horrific, not only to another human being but to their own child, Judge Matthew Castle said at Tuesday's sentencing. You intentionally and systematically tortured this child. Let us call it what it is, it's torture. You tortured this child, he said. Vander Ark, wearing orange jail togs, declined to speak when given the chance and instead shook her head. During the trial last year, Vander Ark was shown pictures of her emaciated son by prosecutor Matt Roberts, and she began to throw up. Prosecutor Roberts asked, "Did he look like that when you put him in the bathtub?" She immediately began retching, before vomiting out of view of the jury. She then apologized to court, asked for a moment, and started to cry. The next day, Vander Ark, who has 5 biological children including a 9-year-old boy, was found guilty of murder and torture. Paul Ferguson, 21, one of the victim's brothers, was also charged with first-degree child abuse in the case. He pleaded guilty in December 2023 and is expected to be sentenced in late February. I'd say it's something close to Stockholm Syndrome, Paul said on the stand in December. I desire to find a role model that, due to my own low self-esteem, I would do anything to make them proud of me. That's not an excuse, I know, but I feel like I'm glad I was at least able to realize it, so I could correct it. Hours before Timothy died, Paul allegedly put him in an ice bath for nearly 9 hours. Paul told the jury that he had abused his brother at his mother's instruction. Vander Ark, who was a law clerk at Newaygo County Circuit Court, previously testified she had purchased spicy hot sauce online after Paul thought it would be a good idea to punish Timothy. A text message exchange between the pair also showed her questioning whether they should drop the hot sauce on the young boy's genitals. I wonder how it would feel to have that hot sauce on your private parts. I'm not saying touch him there, not at all, but dripping a little bit there, is that horrible, she asked. Her lawyer argued she did not understand the harm she was causing her son and did not know he was starving. She also claimed she locked up the family's fridge, freezer, and pantry because Timothy tried to eat frozen food and uncooked meat. Vander Ark is said to have covered the house and the tiny closet Timothy was sleeping in with motion sensors, alarms, and live feed cameras. Prosecutor Roberts said she tortured the child by feeding him hot sauce and punishing him with ice baths. She killed him. She starved him to death, he said. Vander Ark did not legally have custody of Timothy, according to authorities, and he had been in West Michigan since May 2021. Prosecutor Roberts said she should not have had the child to begin with, and that an investigation by the Oklahoma Child Protective Services between 2009 and 2012 resulted in a recommendation to terminate her parental rights. Vander Ark agreed to relinquish custody in 2012 to avoid a permanent severing of parental rights. Court documents show Timothy, Paul, Nolan, 23, and daughter Millie, 19, were granted to their father Eric Ferguson, and she was ordered to pay child support. Vander Ark got remarried to her husband Adam and was living with him at the property until he suffered a stroke and had to move in with his parents. She claimed this was a catalyst for Timothy acting out. There was a couple situations when Tim actually intentionally kept everyone in the house awake, she said in court. He would intentionally set off the motion detectors, he would make noise. According to Vander Ark's LinkedIn profile, she graduated from Cooley Law School in 2021 where she worked part-time as a teaching assistant.